Have you ever seen somebody try to speed run a draft breakdown? Well, that's about to happen. What is going on today, and welcome to the IBL. This is a brand new league that me, KJ, and some others are joining, and we are getting into our draft breakdown today. Like I said in the intro, we're going to try to speed run this because we have a lot of Pokemon, and they are going to take a long time to talk about, and I don't really feel like having a 30-minute video about this team. So let's hop right into this. First, we picked up Urshifu. We were the 13th pick. Urshifu single strike made it all the way to us. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why, don't ask anything, just be happy that it did. It's broken. I don't think I need to say much else. You got Wicked Blow, Poison Jab, it got Trailblaze and Swords Dance this gen, which is crazy. It got a new item that it can run with Punching Gloves, which is basically just protective pads, but it also gives a boost to Wicked Blow and Poison Jab and things like that. So it's crazy. The month's stupid, and we got it, and I'm happy about it. Next is Spectrier. On the way back, it was 16 people, so 3 people picked behind me. On the way back, Spectrier was still there, and this mon is also kind of broken now, especially with such a good fighting type to back it up. Spectrier is going to go crazy because it got Draining Kiss this gen. So it actually hits the darks and it hits the normals and it recovers while doing so. So I'm really looking forward to Spectrier. This also gives us a really good speed to go ahead and top end our draft off with, because not much is faster than Spectrier. So this is great for us. We're sitting in a really good spot by the second round. Then next, we got probably one of the most versatile Pokemon in draft. Granted, it is a little bit less versatile right now, but it is Landorus. The reason I say it's a little bit less versatile is because it does lose Defog, so it's not a great defensive lead with Defog, but it's still a really good rock setter. It's a really good sweeper with Scarf. It got Nasty Plot this gen, so it can even run special sets with Earth Power and Sludge Wave. It's crazy. U-Turn, obviously. It's Intimidate. It's just a good typing, a good bulky offense pickup. It hits a good speed tier for us at, I think, 92. Overall, like I said, just one of the most versatile Pokemon in draft. It has so many move sets that you can choose from, so many different ways to play it, so many different items to use on it. I just don't even know where to start with this Pokemon. It's amazing that it came back to us, and I think a really, really good pickup to keep up this kind of pivot bulky offense team that we have started here. On the way back, we decided to go with Cyclizar because I think Cyclizar at 8 is kind of a crime to have it that low, especially because it could Terra at that point. Now, we did not Terra it because I think just having it for 8 is good enough. This gives us another really good speed tier, another good normal type to pair with our Spectrier because I didn't want Urshifu to be the only ghost resist. It gets things like Shift Gear, it gets Draco Meteor, it gets Rapid Spin, it gets Knockoff, it gets U-Turn. We don't get to use Shed Shell, but that's okay. Just overall, the Pokemon is really good. With Regenerator, it's just, you can't beat it in 8 points at that speed tier, at this kind of versatility with Assault Vest and Scarf and Specs and Life Orb and all these other kinds of things that it can run. This Pokemon is crazy. Being able to run mixed and special, it's amazing. So I think that was a really, really good pickup for us. And then we got the Revavroom, which is actually what we are going to be Terra capping this draft. It got some new toys. It got high horsepower, and if you know anything about Revavroom before the DLC, it couldn't hit steels. That was the biggest problem. So now with high horsepower, we hit those steel types. We did get to choose 2 Terra types for them, so I went Grass and Water. Grass is just to help hit the bulky waters that I think Revavroom has a pretty hard time with, like with Milotic coming back into the game. Milotic is one of them. The Slowbro and Slowking duo, those are pretty hard to hit with just your stabs and high horsepower, so I think having Terra Grass for that is good. And then we went Terra Water for the ground types, and I know I can hit it with Terra Grass too, but sometimes maybe I don't want to be weak to fire because Grass shares the fire weakness with Steel, and maybe I don't want that to happen. So we went Terra Water. That way we can get rid of that weakness while also being able to hit a ground type. Next round, we got Thundurus Incarnate. I was looking at a couple other things right here, but they all got sniped, and we needed the speed tier that Thundurus Incarnate gave us. And with Prankster, we also have like Prankster T-Wave. It gets Thunderbolt, it gets Knockoff, it gets U-Turn, it gets Volt Switch, it gets Nasty Plot, it gets Sub. Like, it's just a good Pokemon all around. I've never been disappointed by having a Thundurus-I on my team, and I think it keeps up the momentum that we're trying to go for, right? Like only one of our Pokemon does not have a momentum move, and that's Spectrier, which is a late game Pokemon anyways, and that's kind of the thing that we're trying to momentum into. So this keeps it up. It gives us a good typing, it gives us a good move pool, and it gives us a good speed tier, and that is the whole point of it. Then we picked up Bisharp because I already have kind of picked the rest of my plan out at this point. We got 11 Pokemon. Like I said, there's a lot of Pokemon on this team. I'm not a fan of 11 Pokemon drafts myself, but we play with the hand that we're dealt, and we abuse what we can with it. So we get the Bisharp. I just think Bisharp at 9 with Eviolite is really, really good. I think having another dark type that's not Urshifu on the team is really, really good, and having another steel type that's not Revavroom on the team is really, really good. So that gives us both. It gives us another rocker. It gives us a really good speed tier at 70, because with the plan I had before, we had a huge gap between like Landorus and the really slow things on the team, so 70 kind of bridges that. Overall, just a good Pokemon. It gives us a Defiant Pokemon, it gives us a Pressure Pokemon with Swords Dance, and we don't even have to run Eviolite because it's already bulky enough, so we can still run Banded sets or Life Orb sets or whatever. It's just another really versatile Pokemon. That was the name of the game with this team for me, was going for super versatile things, because I think where I messed up in my PDD draft is I kind of just got things that were very one-dimensional, and I want to get rid of that with this team. I want to go back to having the more versatile options that can run a bunch of things and really forces my opponent to prep for everything, because I think the hardest thing in 11 Pokemon is prepping for all of it. Then we got a round 7 or 8 Slowking. This thing sat, and I kept pushing it off because I was like, I can pick up something else if it gets taken. Kept pushing it off, and eventually it was still there, so I just grabbed it. I knew I wanted it, it just wasn't high priority, so I grabbed it, and this thing got Scald back, which is huge. I think it was a little lacking without Scald, but now it has Scald back, and it's just back to its old ways because it keeps Chilly Reception, which is basically teleport because of how slow it is. So Slowking is going to do Slowking things for this team, and it's going to get Urshifu onto the field, it's going to get Revavroom onto the field, it's going to get Spectrier onto the field, and it is just going to help us wreck house. And I'm very excited that we were able to pick it up as late as we were, because right now this team is scary. This team is looking crazy good. Next is kind of a weird pick for me. I think I was looking at Dipplin. Dipplin is actually, I think, going to be a very good low tier grass. It can run Eviolite. If you didn't know, it doesn't evolve, but it can run Eviolite. That might be kind of spoilers if you're not looking for spoilers, but it can evolve in the DLC, and GameFreak is bad at coding, so it can actually hold Eviolite in game, and it gets the boost from it. And it has sticky hold, so you can't even get rid of that Eviolite because you can't drop it. It has a cool move pool with like Infestation, Draco Meteor, Giga Drain, Recover, and Sucker Punch. It can kind of run a few physical moves because its physical attack is not bad. It's actually bulkier than Tangela with Eviolite. The only thing is it doesn't get regen, but it does get Recover, and Tangela doesn't get any recovery move like that. So I think this Pokemon's going to be great as a low tier ground resist. If you can see in the video right now, it's eating Chi-Yu hits, and that's not even max HP Dipplin. Just a little behind the scenes, I put max defense, max SPDF into these Pokemon, that way we weren't killing each other as we were getting this footage, but that was a max special attack Chi-Yu. So if I was max HP there, we're taking a lot less, and that's crazy to even think that it can do that with Chi-Yu. But Dipplin, I think, is going to be a really, really cool pickup for us. Then we got Ditto. And Ditto does one thing, and we all know what Ditto does, and I think in 11mon it's just kind of good to have, because there's going to be that one Pokemon that's going to sweep your team every single week, because there's so many things to prep for and there's so many broken Pokemon allowed, that I think having Ditto to kind of deter those setup sweeps for us is really good. Because on top of having Urshifu and Spectrier and Landorus and Cyclizar and Revavroom and all these crazy things you have to prep for, you have to look Ditto in the face, and you have to respect it, because you cannot not look Ditto in the face and just let it reverse sweep you because you made a set that actually beats you as well as beating me. So that's just kind of the reason it's there. It's there to be annoying and prep. I don't know how much I'll bring it, but I do know that it has to be respected. And last, we picked up Tinkatuff. Now, these one-pointers were absolutely horribly horrible. And they were all basically just baby Pokemon. There was like maybe one or two good things, but nothing that really fit our team. So we didn't have a fairy because, spoilers, somebody in the league went mono fairy, and then everybody freaked out and took all their fairies, and we didn't get one. So we're picking up our fairy here. We're also terrestrializing it into fairy and ghost. Fairy just because I want to keep the fairy typing. Ghost because it can be a good spin blocker. It can get rocks up and block spinners itself, which is not horrible. Who knows if this Pokemon's coming? It's 1 point. I basically just picked up a 1-pointer because I wanted to use my last Terra point on it, and this is what we got. But it's got a pretty cool moveset with like T-Wave, Knockoff, Dual Screens, Stealth Rock. So it can be pretty supportive. It's pretty bulky with Eviolite, so I don't think it's going to be a bad pickup. But that is the team. Like I said, we are speed running this draft analysis because I did not want this to take 30 minutes to do. So let me know if you like the team in the comments down below, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe, and that is where I'm going to leave you. See ya.